Hello and welcome to the show. I am your host, Cameron Sadeghi, here today on this great Saturday for those of you getting the break off, and happy holidays to all of you as Christmas is coming by very soon. Those of you wondering why in the world am I doing a show today, it's very simple. I will not be available to do a show tomorrow, so I'm doing one today, and we're going to talk about the NBA and the NFL, but mostly the NBA because I haven't really talked about the NBA as much, and the NFL, I'm just going to give you game predictions and tell you what the playoff picture looks like and give you my analysis on that to the later end of the show, and then we'll close things out here today. It's going to be a 1-hour show today. No guests, me, but that doesn't mean the show is not going to accept callers. It will, and we'll accept commenters too. You can comment on the green bubble to the right side. I keep telling people it's the green bubble, and they still don't go there. There's a little green comment bubble that you'll see in a comic strip, okay? You know those, if you see a a little talking bubble in a comic strip, that's exactly what it looks like on the right side of your screen, and you can just type away, or you can call 949-456-2911 to give me your sports analysis, or you can tweet me at SM_Cameron, which is always an option here on the show. First things first, with the NBA, DeMarcus Cousins suspended indefinitely. Kings GM Geoff Petrie announced in a statement released Saturday that unprofessional behavior and conduct detrimental to the team. There was halftime tension in the locker room between Keith Smart and DeMarcus Cousins. This issue, and I think, and by the way, Cousins was reported to use extensive profanity according to USAtoday.com. Cousins and his coach were yelling back and forth. Basically, it was not good. It was one of those situations that you have when you're trailing in a game and you can't really get anything to go against the Clippers, and it was just a nightmare, basically. And, DeMarcus Cousins crumbled there, stumbled, and both pouring out their emotions in Los Angeles. This situation, in my honest opinion here, and I know that DeMarcus Cousins has done a lot of really not so great things over the past with coaches, and his yelling and his attitude is, again, not professional, but let's not sit here and say that this guy is not going to be a star in the future. I think this guy's going to be a top 5 center in this league very, very soon. Some may even say he is a top 5 center right now. And that's, rightfully so. This guy, he has all the skills necessary to be an elite center in this league. Now, attitude, it will come. And I know even in college he had this problem, and just overall, as a basketball player, tempers have really gotten his way of his potential. But that doesn't mean, again, that he's not going to be a good player and that he's going to be mediocre or this is going to be derailing him. I don't think this is going to derail him at all. I think he I think I can understand his frustrations, though. Okay, the Kings are in a developmental process where it's just really bad, and I know, Keith Smart, he's gone through a lot, especially in this in the association, being with the Warriors, now being with the Kings, being a longtime assistant coach, and I really like Keith Smart a lot. And I like this Kings organization. They're a good group of people, but they need to recognize that, well, especially the Maloofs. I mean, that's just for another day, but this organization really needs to make sure that they treat him well. Because if they don't, I think he could, try to get on the way out. And that's one thing you don't want in regards to the Sacramento Kings. I know his contract is not necessarily up yet, but still, it's going to be a concern if he, if these type of events continue to occur. I think he'll be fine. I think if he just matures a little bit, I think he'll be fine. But you cannot put him. You got to put him in nice situations. You can't make him feel uncomfortable. And some of you might say, "Well, that's kind of obvious." It is. But for some odd reason, I don't know why, but the Sacramento Kings, they've shown to not really recognize that. I don't know. It's just Sacramento. They need to go get another star, in my opinion. I mean, they've got nice pieces, but it's not going to get to the playoffs. Okay, they're really. They need to go get another star from free. They need to go get a Josh Smith. I mean, they've got to make a big move right now at the trade deadline or in the future, because if they continue this path, they're going to remain the same. In this league, you cannot get to the playoffs without two stars. And look, I like Tyreek Evans. I like their guys. But you need to add a veteran presence, a la Josh Smith, that could really, really help your team. I mean, even getting Amari Stoudemire wouldn't be that bad, which we'll talk about in a few moments. Make the decision. Make the decision quickly, Kings. If you want to advance, I mean, first of all, they're thinking about going to Anaheim. Okay, the ownership is terrible with the Maloofs. Okay, it really is. I mean, even though I don't agree with David Stern a lot, I do have to agree with the fact that the Maloofs are terrible communicators. I mean, horrifically bad. Okay? I mean, I don't know what this organization is trying to do in the Sacramento Kings. They have no identity in my mind. And I want the Kings to do well. And I want the Kings to get back to that national scene like they did in 2002 with Bibby, Weber, Doug Christie. It's not there anymore. Okay? Those are the type of players the Kings need to get to the playoffs. They don't have it. They don't have it. Let's move on to another story in regards to the New York Knicks. The Knicks are not so great shape with Rasheed Wallace. Stress reaction and chronic condition in his left foot. I think that, with Wallace out, Chandler playing extra minutes, this team's going through some big-time injuries. This is huge. A huge injury. And Rasheed Wallace is a pretty nice impact for this squad, in my opinion. I think that's pretty fair to say. Now, with no Marcus Camby, and then Stoudemire hasn't played all year. Stoudemire's going through rehab, and so he's doing all right. I mean, but again, it's not. I still think Stoudemire doesn't have what it takes in the tank to carry this team far into the playoffs. I think they kind of do worse with him. And I know that's kind of mean to say, but you look at this guy and he honestly, as great of a gifted player as he is, he's just reached that age where he can't do it. He does not have the same defensive firepower that he used to. In the offensive game, to me, he's a good mid-range jump shooter, but after that, his face-up game is not really as quality and as good as we've seen in years past. The pick and roll is a little iffy. Stamina, he's lost a step. I think it's time to part ways with him. And the Knicks have tried, but there's no team in the league is going to want to pay for his contract. My God, his contract is huge. I mean, how much more money can this guy get? He's sitting on the bench making, I'm not sure what his contract is, but if I remember, it was 5 years, $100 million when he first came, or around that area. I know it was more. It was either $100 million or more. And again, he's just been banged up, hasn't played well, and he hasn't been the defensive presence that they've needed. He should go to a team where he could be the center focus, and I think that would be good. But New York's not a good place for him right now. It's just not working. He's not going to make a big impact, even if he comes back. So let's move on from this topic about the Knicks, and I want to move on and to another. I want to stay with the Knicks here, because reportedly he was supposed to. The Knicks were trying to trade Amari, and according to the New York Times, the Knicks tried. They offered Stoudemire to nearly every team in the league. Available for free, as one rival executive put it. This is according to Slam.com as well. And then Knicks wanted to send Stoudemire to Toronto in a deal for Bargnani, and then the proposal was vetoed by James Dolan before it even got to the Raptors. Man, thinking about it, if the Raptors were that, crazy enough to send off Bargnani to the Knicks? Bargnani? I mean, Bargnani, I think, have I even talked about him on the show? I don't think I have. And that's unfortunate, because he is astounding, in my opinion. He's the most underrated big man in this league. Underrated. He's never talked about the big networks. Never talked about, but I mean, ESPN. I don't think ESPN has ever mentioned Andrea Bargnani, ever. Okay, and this guy seemingly, he's got the 3-point jump shot, which Stoudemire doesn't have. I mean, it's more consistent than Stoudemire. His face-up game is better. Rebounding, Defense, not that great. I'd take Stoudemire's defense over him. But offensively, he is a nightmare compared to Stoudemire. He's a juggernaut. You give that guy in an ISO, he can go to work on anyone. Off the pick and roll a little bit better, especially off the pick and pop, he's deadly because of his range. So, and his post-up game's pretty good. So, yeah, I thought that was a great decision for the Knicks, but why would James Dolan do that? I'm looking at this article right now, and there's no real explanation about this. That's stunning to me. It's just... It's unbelievable. How could someone... I mean, James Dolan... James Dolan, alright, should have done that trade. You're gonna... Unbelievable. You're gonna go and... You have the opportunity to get a 20-point score consistently. And you're not gonna go get it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Knicks. I didn't understand really the explanation behind it. And I wish we did, but that's more in-house, secret type of thing that we're not really supposed to know. So, yeah, I understand. I understand that the Knicks and the Raptors want to keep that private. I mean, that's them. They can definitely do that. That's perfectly fine. Alright, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the NBA. We'll even talk about the Brooklyn Nets. Struggles with their offense. People talking about it. What is going on? Also, we'll talk about Steve Nash. He will be in the starting lineup today. The game's very, very, very close to starting. 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Lakers, Warriors, Nash coming back. And he will be playing versus the Knicks at Staples Center on Christmas Day. I'll even talk about the Christmas Day matchups too. But first, 30-second timeout.
It was real.
20 minutes after our number one on the Cameron Sadeghi Show, we are going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets issues. 3-game losing streak continues. Darren Williams' struggles continue as well. It's been terrible. He's putting up the worst numbers since his second year in the NBA, according to SlamOnline.com. By Marcel Moutoni, Darren Williams blames Avery Johnson's system for struggles. This is according to the New York Times. This is what Darren Williams had to say. That system, which was the system against the Jazz, was a great system for my style of play. Williams said of the flex offense run by Utah coach Jerry Sloan. I'm a system player. I love Coach Sloan's system. I loved the offense there. Then Williams talked about Avery Johnson's offense. When he was asked Darren Williams was asked about the Utah Jazz offense and this offense. He said, is it as good as there? No, he said. There's just more one-on-one and ISOs in Johnson's offense. Also, Williams said that his high school and college teams ran motion offenses that helped him to thrive. Look, I have to say this, and I know they run a more isolated, and people are calling Darren Williams prima donnas and all these type of things. Darren Williams is absolutely 150% correct. You're not going to win in the NBA with ISOs. You're just not. You're not going to win the NBA with ISOs. When I mean win, yeah, you can win any given night, okay? But you're not going to win a championship. When the ball sticks, nothing good happens. And what I mean by that, when the ball is in one guy's hands and he's really dictating the offense, that's not good offense. One-on-one offense isn't good team offense. And I have to agree with Darren. It's not just him that would be more successful. It would be the whole team would be more successful. When the ball... You got to challenge the defense. Okay? In any defense, when you do ISOs and when you do plays you try to just... Whenever you do ISOs, in my opinion, you're not going to be successful because you're kind of giving the defense a break in a way. You're putting a one-on-one situation and you have 3 help defenders that can help out on the drive. And then usually when a guy's in an ISO, first of all, when you set up a play in the NBA, you only have 24 seconds. I mean, I know I'm being Captain Obvious there, but when you have 24 seconds to get into the play, let's say take 6 seconds. So they get in the ISO. 18 on the shot clock. Here's the ISO. You have 18 seconds to make a play, and it's one-on-one. That's not good offense. It gets predictable, and you're going to face great defenders in the playoffs. Great team defenses, a la Boston, Miami, New York. New York's pretty good at team defense in my mind. And you're going to have a great defender on you. You're not going to get a good shot off. And it's going to lead to easy transition for other teams. It showed. I mean, you cannot... especially in the playoffs, you have to put teams on their heels, moving, cutting, screens. One thing defenses hate, screens. Go ask any defender who plays the game of basketball. They all hate screens. It's for a lack of a better term, annoying to have a screen put on you. To get over the screen constantly. Look at the Knicks and how they move the basketball. They do off-ball screens. They do V cuts, L cuts, getting themselves open. Back cuts. Just moving, you'd be surprised. You go play in any game. Defenses are so bad nowadays. Okay? I'd say 20 years ago, even if you had great ball movement, you probably wouldn't do as well. Like today. But even just moving around, cutting, screening away, you'd be surprised at how just moving around and causing the defense to move around as well, you're going to get wide open jump shots. You're going to get wide open layups off of cuts and screens. I don't understand why Johnson. And now look, Johnson's team is talented, very talented, but he's got to recognize that he doesn't have. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think that Avery Johnson has a team where it's like LeBron James, where you can put in ISOs, where he's just flat out unstoppable to stop. Okay, so again, with good team defense, their offense can get stopped. They don't have extraordinary offensive creators. They really don't. I mean, Darren Williams is really good. I mean, he creates off the dribble, and he's really good. He's a really good facilitator, but not a LeBron James, not a Carmelo Anthony. That's like two steps up above to put in ISO situations that can get quality shots off. I mean, and I can understand what he's saying, because in that Jazz offense with Boozer and Williams and Brewer and Millsap, they got a lot of mid-range jump shots off of screens. It's perfect. If you get a mid-range jump shot off of a screen, that's a solid possession. Here, with the Nets, they don't get solid, good looks. I mean, if it wasn't for their big men, I don't know where they would be. I mean, they've got quality big men in Chris Humphries and Brook Lopez and Reggie Evans. Without those guys, I don't think they'd be very far. If they had a below-average group as their front line, yeah, I don't think they'd be going that far. At all. At all. So, I have to agree with Darren Williams. People could say, oh, he's a prima donna, oh. No, he's not. He's giving basketball. Let me read some of the Slam Online comments from some people. Let's read it. Okay. Clearly, Darren is not. This is by a guy named The Fury. Clearly, Darren is not a superstar point guard most of us thought here, because superstars can adapt to changes. Adjust your game and you will succeed. Such a prima donna. If you're good, you're good. What is that supposed to mean? I don't understand some of the lack of basketball knowledge some people have. And I'm not saying I have good basketball knowledge, but I've got some. I've got enough to know that Darren Williams' comments aren't bad. I mean, he shouldn't complain to the media. He should more talk about to Avery Johnson. But I understand his frustration, because he knows what it takes to win a championship, even though he hasn't won one. He knows what it takes to go far in the playoffs. And that type of offense doesn't get you far. Let's read a few more. No doubt about it. I've never seen CP... This is by another guy named Rob. I've never seen CP3 complaining about anything. He just goes and performs no matter what. He's always going to get his numbers because he's a true superstar point guard. But hey, if Darren was capable of getting a Hall of Fame coach like Sloan, Jerry Sloan out of Utah, obviously he's going to complain about Avery Johnson's system. Come on, really? To me, Darren Williams is a superstar point guard in this league. Don't go out there and say that. I mean, Chris Paul doesn't complain to the media, but we don't know what he says behind closed doors, do we? Aha. That's what we're missing out of this. If some players, they like to take their criticism out in the media, and some like to do it but trust me, those of you who are going to say, oh, come on, really? Chris Paul doesn't say anything behind closed doors. Every player does. Every player does. Or no one would succeed. Okay? So, that argument about Darren Williams not being a superstar point guard is absolutely ridiculous in my mind. Absolutely cold-hearted cold-blooded ridiculous. Okay, let's move on. Steve Nash, Lakers, Warriors, Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Steve Nash back into the starting lineup. Steve Nash, again, he's what a great job with his recovery, by the way. He's really done a good job here. And these expectations with the Lakers are insurmountable because they're not winning a championship this year. If the Lakers win a championship this year, I'll just dedicate a whole show to them. Okay? I'll dedicate a whole program, an entire program, if, listen to me, if the Lakers win a championship. Charles Barkley said it on TNT Inside the NBA. I'm not Inside the NBA. It was during a game broadcast, Knicks-Lakers. And Charles said, Kobe Bryant said that he doesn't know really what to expect with this team. Charles said this point blank, which is absolutely beautiful on his part. He said, Kobe should know what should be expected. The Lakers are already slow and old. It's kind of obvious what you should expect. I totally agree with you, Charles. The Lakers' defensive transition principles are off the charts horrible. I've never seen an NBA team... Well, no, that's extreme. I've never seen a talented team like this with so many poor defensive principles. My God, it's bad. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? You're going to allow a Bobcats team to walk in there with 100 points? I like the Bobcats a lot. They fight, they work, they gut it out. But don't go out there and say... don't go out there and say that the Lakers are going to do well. Because they're not. You go out there with getting Mike D'Antoni. You're going to... For some odd reason, why does Mitch Kupchak and company think it's okay to make the offense more tempo? To go high tempo? The Lakers are old. Why do you make a high tempo system for an old team? They're taking bad shots, they're playing horrible defense, and they're not doing the little things to win. Yes, they won against the Bobcats. Great. Okay, good for you. You came back from 18. Good job. I mean, that's hard. But the Bobcats collapsed, too. Let's also mention that. As much as I love the Bobcats, let's mention that. And then I saw the Cleveland Cavaliers-Lakers game, and I saw Kobe Bryant's defense, and look, I know Kobe Bryant's a really good player, and I know he's older, he's lost a step, I get it. But I don't want to say he lacked the effort, but he lacked the defense on the closeouts for jump shots. Cleveland had their day, and the help defense wasn't that great from Kobe Bryant. I mean, he's a really good defender. Kobe Bryant has won defensive awards after defensive awards. He's been on all defensive teams. So, he's a very solid defensive player. And even with the lack of speed that he has, I'm just surprised that during that game and just during the course of these games, he hasn't been really doing well closing out shots, boxing out. It's kind of been a little disappointing on Bryant's part. And it's not just Bryant, it's just the overall collective group in this entire organization. Their inability their inability to play good, solid help defense is mind-boggling. They've got the best defensive center in the NBA today, and they still gave up 100 points against the Bobcats. It tells you how bad the perimeter defense is, and the other parts of the defense, because Dwight Howard can only do so much. Perimeter defense, not there with the Lakers. And then the offense, that's another issue that we need to get to. The offense. Kobe Bryant, and I've said this so many times on show after show after show after show when we talk about the Lakers. And I say, Kobe Bryant doesn't take good shots, but he makes them. Because he's practiced those angled shots, those fadeaway jump shots. He knows his spots on the floor. Here's the thing. At his age, trying to carry the team on his back playing hero ball in ISO situations, late in games, putting up bad shots, it's not going to fall at this stage in his career. And he's taking deep threes. I mean, some of the Lakers shots have been deep threes, deep shots, contested shots, and they're leading to long misses, which, as you know, when you take a three and it's a long miss, a fast squad, one quick outlet pass, another pass down the floor, and you got a layup. And that's what's been happening against the Lakers. Their bad offense has led to bad transition defense. Because for this old team, they cannot take they've got zero margin for error for deep threes. They've got to take none, even if it's wide open. Because this Lakers offensive three-point shooting is not that great. And those long misses are going to bite them, even in the playoffs, even when people say, oh, the game slows down. It won't slow down when you're hoisting up long shots, long misses, and Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant are in the open court in a 2-on-1 situation. Okay? It won't be slowing down then. And you'll be booted out of the playoffs by teams like Oklahoma City, Denver, who can fly up the floor. They can fly. Golden State is even looking good. Okay? And we'll get to the standings soon in the NBA, and we'll get to the NFL. But it's got to be a huge concern, and I don't think Steve Nash is really going to help. I think he is not their problem. I don't think they've got many problems. It's not one position, it's an overall collective group problem with the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, let's take one more break, and we'll be back in a half a minute. NBA standings have been really quite, I would say the NBA standings have been pretty surprising. Boston Celtics, by the way, they've been a little bit atrocious. 13-13, not that great. But they've started slow, especially last year. They started slow in the lockout season, but I think they're going to go far in the playoffs in the East. But still something if you're a Celtics fan to be concerned. Philly, they're 13-14 without Bynum. That's actually pretty impressive, in my opinion. You look at New York, they're 19-7, best in the East. Over Miami. Miami is 17-6. Oh, well, actually Miami has a slightly better winning percentage than New York, but still, Knicks are doing great. Atlanta, 15-9. very solid. Even though they've been on a 2-game losing streak, Indiana, they're 15-12. They're still doing great things over there. Milwaukee, to me, has been one of the bigger surprises, and I've got to commend them. I mean, Scott Skiles, Montel, I mean, that whole group and the fashion that they play in, they grind and they work and they grit, and they've got that grit. Yeah, Milwaukee, in my opinion, is going to make the playoffs. Yeah, they may not have the amazing star power, but they've got enough talent to get there, and they have solid defensive principles, and that should be very, very, very much noted in regards to the way that Scott Skiles has drawn up the X's and O's in Milwaukee. Chicago, they've done great things, even without Derrick Rose. 15-10. That's very hard to do. 15-10. Derrick Rose will come back. They can just get to the playoffs. They'll be fine. And I think they will. If they can somehow win the division, now that would be perfect for them, because if they win that division, they can get up to the first 4 seeds, and then put themselves in a really nice spot, and then get themselves a home court advantage for the first round. In the West, Oklahoma City, 21-5. That's not really a surprise. They've just been on a flat-out roll. Minnesota, Ricky Rubio back. They beat OKC on Thursday night. On TNT, they improved to 13-11. Denver's been a little bit inconsistent, 14-13 though. Utah, the same record right behind them, and Portland's 12-12. That's a tough division in the Northwest. Portland could possibly make the playoffs too. I can make that argument. Clippers 20-6, Warriors 18-9. That's been the biggest surprise. This Warriors team, and I thought they were not going to make the playoffs. And look, there's a long way to go. But the way that they play, even without Andrew Bogut, the perfect ball movement, the defense. These guys are really doing a solid job. Lakers, we talked about them, 12-14. Phoenix, I don't think they're making the playoffs. Same with Sacramento. Memphis, I think they will, 18-6. They're leading the Southwest Division. San Antonio right behind them, 20-8. Houston, 13-12. I think Houston could possibly make the 8th seed. I don't know. The Western Conference is still going to be tight again. Very, very tight. Down to the wire. Dallas, 12-15, and then New Orleans has been atrocious. 5-21, but even a team that's been more atrocious is a 3-21 Washington Wizards squad. Really bad. Really, really bad. In Washington. Okay, that's basically it for the NBA. We're going to move on to the NFL, but we are going to take one more commercial break. We'll be back in a moment. Cameron Sadeghi Show, 14 minutes to go on the program. Let's shift gears and go to the National Football League as we are winding down to the close of the 2012-2013 NFL season. I'm going to give you the playoff picture. I'll also give you an update. There is Monday Night Football, even though it's Saturday night. You can see that on ESPN. Falcons-Lions, 14-3 in Detroit. 2 minutes to go, 2-minute warning in the first half. 14-3 Falcons. Let's move on to the most important thing, is the playoff picture. By the way, those of you wondering, in the NFC, which alludes to this Atlanta-Detroit game, is the fact that Atlanta, if they win this football game against the Detroit Lions, they will lock up the first seed in the NFC, and then in the NFC, they got the 49ers, who are second. They're going to be facing a very critical game against the Seahawks. The 9-5 Seahawks and the 5th seed. The Niners could really lock things up in that division, even though they're 10-3-1. That game will be huge. I believe it will be, yes, it will be in Seattle, if I'm correct. So the Falcons are 1, the Niners are 2, the Packers are 3. They can advance. The Packers could go up a spot. The Redskins are 4, the Seahawks are 5, and the Vikings are 6. Bears are 7th, Cowboys 8th, Giants 9th, Rams 10th. I think the division is really, to me, the NFC East with the Redskins leading in it. I think whoever wins that division gets in. I don't think anyone from the NFC East will go into the wild card. I feel as if the Bears will be going into the wild card. Or the Vikings. I think the Bears over the Vikings because the Vikings have a brutal schedule left. Okay, it's just brutal, right? Chicago has the easiest schedule left, I believe. So the Bears, I think, will slip in. I think at the end of the day, it'll be Falcons, Niners, Seahawks. I think it'll be Falcons, Niners, Packers, Cowboys, Seahawks, Bears. I think that will be your NFC playoffs. And then I think in the AFC, this is what it is. Texans 1, Broncos 2, Patriots 3, Ravens 4, and Colts 5, Bengals 6, and the Steelers, and oh yes, the Miami Dolphins have a shot, not realistically, but they would need the Steelers to lose 1, I believe, and they would need the Bengals to lose the rest. The Bengals and the Steelers, I think, will be squaring off at the end of the season again. So that will be very interesting. I think the playoff picture will remain the same for the AFC. I think New England, though, could. I mean, only if... I don't know. I was going to say the Broncos could. I mean, Denver... I don't know. Denver has an easy schedule. They got the Browns and the Chiefs. So I was going to say, if they lose, New England could get up there. I don't think they will. Again, the Patriots have a pretty easy schedule. They got Jacksonville and Miami. So, look, Denver, I don't know. If they somehow lose to the Chiefs, maybe. But I don't see it happening. I think all the spots will remain the same. Let me see here. The Texans, they have the Vikings and the Colts. Those could be too tough. I mean, they could. If they're resting, going to the rest of their starters, possibly. I don't know. I think New England will probably stay in the 3rd seed. Ravens 4, Colts 5, Bengals 6. So I think it's going to remain the same. Last but not least, my predictions. By the way, last update. Atlanta did score another touchdown. It's 21-3 with 1:17 to go in the second. Monday Night Football, ESPN, even though it's Saturday night, and it's their last Monday Night Football game. You can go check that on ESPN. Let me give you my game predictions. Oakland, Carolina. It's going to be in the early session. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. Dallas, Saints, NFC, Showdown, Cowboys at home. Green Bay, Tennessee, Green Bay at home. Houston, Minnesota, I'm going to stick with Houston. New England is going into Jacksonville. I'm still sticking with New England. Indianapolis, Kansas City, Indy gets the victory. Buffalo, Miami. I'll go with Miami. San Diego, Jets. Jets are having a terrible season, as well as San Diego. I'm just going to go with San Diego. Washington, Philly, going with the Redskins. Cincy, Pittsburgh, Gotta go with the Bengals here, actually. Rams, Bucks. Bucks it is. Cleveland, Denver. Going with Denver. Chicago, Arizona. Gonna go with No, why am I saying Arizona? Chicago. I'm going with Chicago. Giants, Ravens, the last game before the Sunday night game. I'm going to go with the... Oh, man, that's a hard game. I'm going to go with the Ravens. San Francisco and Seattle. I'm going to go with San Francisco. I think Seattle will still be in the wild card spot, but I think San Francisco will lock that NFC West up over there. Thank you for listening to the program. I really appreciated you listening to the show. And I will not be here tomorrow, but I will be doing shows during the break, during these 2 weeks. Stay tuned for that. I'll post more things on Facebook. Please like our Facebook page, National Sports, all one word. Please capitalize the first letter in N. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. And like always, hasta luego.